Hello everyone. So today we will see some more concepts. One of the main concept is something called storage levels in Spark. Now what is storage level? Storage level is when you store the data, right, at when you store, in sense, when you are running a Spark job, then Spark does everything in the in memory. But sometimes what happens, due to different conditions, right, it has to spill the data into the hard disk. Now there are different conditions because of which it spills, but from a programmer perspective or from the configuration perspective, we can set the different storage levels in Spark, that whether I want to have, because what can happen is that many times, say my RAM is not that big to fit in my whole data, so I do not want to have a out of memory issue, right, which happens, executor does not have that much memory, so then I want to spill the data. So in that case, what will happen, suppose there is a processing to be done for a bigger data, it will spill over to the memory, and from the memory it will go and it will read one by one, and it would process that rather than giving a out of memory. But anyhow, it is expensive, because whenever you are writing to a hard disk or to hard disk system, it becomes slower. So we can ourselves define that storage level. We'll see that how we can do that. See, now in this example, what we are doing is we are creating a data frame, both of them, and then we are converting them to the pandas, okay, pandas df, and we are showing it, and all that other sort and all that things which we are doing just to see one sec, the storage levels which are defined. And see, these all are sorting and all operations which we have seen previously, and joining and all that. Okay, so there can be different storage levels which I have mentioned here: memory only, memory and disk, memory only hard day, memory and disk hard day, disk only, and all these. So sometimes they ask how many, in interviews and all, they will ask how much, means what are the storage levels and all that, so you can tell that. Now how to see whether something has been in what is my storage level? So one thing is to know that we have to know another few concepts, like when I was telling that there is something like Spark does in memory. Apart from that, there is something called caching, and there is something called a checkpoint. You know what are those? Because when we come to the storage levels, right, then there comes the concept of these as well. So for that, what I have done is, see, all the sorting and join when I have done, post that I have put the storage level, check if it is cached. Now what is caching? Caching means that you are storing the data for faster retrieval of things. Okay, so the default, when you are putting a caching, right, when you are doing something like cache, you can cache your data frame. Cache by default has a data in memory, that is memory only. Memory only is the storage level. So that is why I told you storage level first, because storage level decides in Spark that how you are going to store the data while it is being processed. See, Spark is a processing engine, it processes, it's not a storage place, it's not like Hive where you store the data. So caching and all means when you're processing, right, suppose you need some data uh, which is required again and again, that you can cache and you can get it. Okay, so there again they are writing that the storage level, there are 4 caching levels that can be fine-tuned with the persist level. Now there is something called a persist. Okay, so persist is something same, means similar, I will not say same, it is similar to caching, but persist, if you do a persist right here, like we were doing a caching, if you do a persist, the storage memory will be memory and disk. Okay, and it will start the storing the data as I have written here. I will share this document in my GitHub. It stores in the JVM memory, and when it requires additional memory, it goes. That is why it is memory and disk. It is not only memory. Okay, so this is clear from this storage level. So since it moves to the IO and all, persist is slower than cache, because it is going to the disk, right? And the cache does not go to disk, it is memory only. It is in memory totally. But having said that, you require that much of memory in your executors, because otherwise what will happen, it will fail, your job will fail with out of memory error will come. So here I have tried to show that what happens when you run a persist, how you can persist it, and then what is the storage level and all. So, and post that I am doing something called a checkpoint. Okay, so checkpoint is again something where we store in a temporary location and retrieve it. So once I run it, right, I have given my checkpoint directory, which is home, this whole detail, and then checkpoint date. So now where is that one? Let's see. I'll just show you what it does. Okay, okay, it would have created here last time. Okay, yeah, here it is. So this is each time when I run, right, folder like this would be created with a naming convention, something. So you can see 3 here, right? Now when I run it, I will just run it. So now it is clear, right? Checkpoint, what is checkpoint? Anybody can ask you. So checkpoint is also something where you store the data and retrieve it. It is stored, it is stored in a location, and from where it is being taken. Okay, so and it is faster. See here what we are doing is we are taking an example wherein one we are doing a checkpoint and in other we are not doing a checkpoint, and we are seeing with explain plan. If you remember last time we had discussed some videos back what is the explain plan. In explain plan we can see that what is the execution plan it is doing, the way it is trying to run. So that is what is explain plan. Now we run it. One sec. Okay, let it run. So meanwhile, while it runs, right, I'll just show you guys something. Okay, today another thing I'm planning to show is something of a config example that I will say what is that. First let this complete and we see the difference. You guys also can run. I'm running this in a PyCharm. I'm not doing in the Docker and all, which I was doing previously, because for this example only I can do in a PyCharm, and I can show you. It does not need what to say Docker and all to show that. Okay, so it runs through, and see a plan would look typically like this. Okay, so now it has completed. See, we will go from the down. This is the plan which has generated. See, seeing the above plan, this is the above plan which is there. This is the physical plan. Okay, this is the physical plan without a checkpoint. That without storing, checkpoint is what we are storing the data frame data in a folder. Without storing that, this is the way it happens. And if I store that data, right, then it becomes like that. Now how do you read that? This one is there, right? This one you have to read first, then you have to go like this, and this one, and again like this from. So it is same like people who have worked probably in Oracle or other explain plans would know. They read from inside to out. Here can be another. So indentation is the main thing here. You have to read like this. Okay, so that is the way it is done. So if you run this, you can get the details and you can see the difference for yourself. These are the places where I am printing, like the way it is persists and all, and other explain plans as well. So next we will go to something called configuration file. what is a configuration file now when you run an application in your machine, till now we were just passing, if you'd have seen any of them, we were just passing the store, this one here, the Spark session, and like this we are creating and application name, it is done. But in a real world scenario, right, this cannot be done, because how it is done is you need an environment wherein you get the data, and then the same path you just put the files and it should run. You cannot go and do again a code change in the production and deploy it, right? That would be a little what to say, it can become error prone. Okay, so one sec. So for that we need this one, config parser, and config parser is a library which we need, and we have to install in the PyCharm, and sys also, because we have to read the file. So basically what we are doing is we are reading the details, like this is our application properties also. What I have done is, the project which is there, right, I first created a project. In that project I will just close this, then it will become clear. See, there is, in the project there is something called a source. Now there is this data source from where I am reading the data, and there is the code, and there is a resource. See, this is my structure, this is the main one, then inside that source, inside that my learning and resources. So this should be a level. Okay, so now in the application.properties, what I have done for the dev environment, right, I have put it as this detail, input.base.directory. This is just a dummy, like if you want to read a file, you can read from here and you can mention in your file. I will just show for the execution mode, that in your local mode, right, it is local, and in your execution mode it becomes yarn client. See, this is nothing but we are reading the prop file here, and we are reading the value in this line, and next to that this is where I am passing the local. So what happens now here, when I pass in dev, right, then it passes local, and I want to test my code, and it is done. Next, where in the application properties setup, right, in the production, same code I take, and these are all like dynamically passed, right? So this is nothing but execution mode. This execution mode it picks up. This is like a variable. Okay, so this file is also placed in production. Now in production, what I will do, I will call with a prod rather than calling with a dev. So that is the only change I will do. So once I call with the prod, then the file runs with a yarn client, and it gives the detail. Okay, so that is the thing. Just a minute, I'll just tell the other. Okay, so now what we are telling is, this is the application properties we have seen, right, and this is the path. So how will this my code know that what is in the application properties? So for that, what we need to do is, we need to go to the run edit properties. Here when you are doing first time, right, you have to do a plus and you have to add here, because for me it is already there. I am just adding here like dev, which was there in the bracket, right, and the path here will be till this, that is above, not that my learning. Okay, you see my path, it is PyCharm project is there, below that this, and then I created this one, right, my learning. It should not be till that, it should be till here, the above one. Okay, and then I do an apply and do okay, and let's see. Oh, sorry. It should run. So this is how in a practical scenario, right, it is done. And I have just put these paths, input.base.date. This you can use here, like I have used this execution mode, right, and I am passing for this dev because I am doing in a dev environment, and execution mode local will come there, which we were hard coding in all our codes previously. Likewise, you can use this input based directory, output based directory. So everything now becomes a non-static, and you don't have to make any change in your code while you put in a production environment. You just take it and you just put your code only there, and it automatically takes the detail. So that I wanted to show one thing which comes into the like in a practical scenario. That kind of thing comes in very handy. And apart from this, I just wanted to show you guys something more. Just a second. Okay, yeah. So that is one, and I will be sharing another which is row related detail. Okay, what is a row and all that stuff. Although this one Spark definitive guide, right, that I have updated this 27 column operations.py, right. This file you will find in my GitHub, and that contains all of the notes as well as the codes. So that would make your life a little easier. So next we will see in the next video the S3 reading and all that. That is very simple. That is not much of a complex thing, but next to that, which is a little, you need a little understanding before starting, is the Spark MLs, right? So because you need a little background of ML before you dive into Spark, because these are totally two different worlds which are there. One is a ML and one is a Spark, right? So Spark is one framework and ML is machine learning. So we are trying to put both together. We'll do that, as well as we will see what is a streaming and all that, Spark streaming in a practicality. But for now, I think you guys just whoever want to do this handy through your in your machine and all, you can do that. Okay, so that would help you guys gain a little bit of confidence. At the same time, you can go and you can see this 27 column operations.py. This is a very huge file, but this contains all the details, all the much more detail, what is a row and all that, everything, like in note wise. You can see what is a data set, how a data set is being made, what is the relationship between a data set and a row. A row is made of a data set, how it is made. All these details are there in the note in that GitHub. I would request you, please go and check that. That would help you, as well as you can run this just for your just to you will get a little bit more of hands-on and things will run. This is a running code which I have put. So that's it for today. Next day we will see more into Spark ML and a little bit more into streaming, like what are the types of streamings and what is Spark streaming, what is structured streaming, and how does it differ with other streamings, and what is event based streaming and what is not, why Spark is not an event based streaming, and how other streamings are helpful more than Spark streaming, and in which scenarios those become helpful. So those details we will see in our next video. So for today, this much we have covered. Thanks everyone. Thank you. Bye.